Welcome back to Waiting in Laodicea. I'm your host, A.T. Martinez, and today I want to talk to you about something that's a lot of you and a lot of people try to deny is taking place. That is the persecution of Christianity. I recently read an article that the baker up in Colorado is again being sued. Now, this would make the second lawsuit he's facing right now. He's had multiple lawsuits and actually has won every lawsuit so far. The problem is, what you see happening now is people are almost lining up to sue him. What's the whole thing about? Well, the baker is a Christian, and he does not feel that it is right to force him to make a cake celebrating a gay marriage, since that's against his beliefs. The homosexual community and the LGBTQI community believe that they have the right to make people celebrate their beliefs. This is only the first stage of the persecution of the church. You see this more and more where Christians are coming under fire for their beliefs. You see this in the universities. Universities are telling people, no, you cannot have your religion and work here. There's an example of a professor who was fired because he wouldn't use somebody's chosen pronoun. By chosen pronoun, I mean this is a person who was biologically a male or biologically a female and has chosen to be identified as the opposite sex. In one example, the gentleman didn't even know this person had been chosen, has chosen a new pronoun. The problem in all this is, number one, you are what you are. If you are biologically a male, then you're a male. You may be a male that has confused views, but you're still a male. Second thing, how does anybody on the outside know what you are unless you dress accordingly? If you come to school in jeans and a t-shirt, you're not identifying as one gender. So they're going to call you by the gender that you biologically appear to be. I've heard many professors and people of supposed higher learning actually ridicule the idea of Christianity. They call it belief in the flying spaghetti monster. The church is beginning to see persecution in the United States and in the Western world. It has continually had persecution elsewhere. If you don't believe me, go try to open a church in Iran. It's not allowed. Christianity is against the law in quite a few countries. Granted, those are Muslim countries, and you may sit back and go, well, they have their own religion. The problem is, Christianity is has started to become more and more persecuted. There's been a long discussion about the war on Christmas. Just wishing somebody a Merry Christmas can be deemed as a hate crime. This is all the beginning. It's going to get worse. We know this because the Bible tells us that in the end, they're going to persecute us for His name, Christ's name. Now, as more of society seems to turn away from the Lord and turn away from the morals of the Bible, the persecution is going to increase. I mentioned in an earlier episode how the Equality Act, basically would make a doctor who is a Christian perform actions that are against his beliefs. If you're a Christian and a physician, you would have to perform abortions. You'd have to perform you'd have to perform sexual orientation changes. You'd have to prescribe medication to do this. And what is even scarier is you may be forced to do this to children. Because in congressional hearings. One of the individuals being appointed to the Department of Health and Human Services, who is a trans male, meaning that is a guy who looks like has chosen to be a woman, believes that this is acceptable to trans or change the sexual characteristics of children. Now, it's ironic that the same people that say this is okay turn around and condemn Muslims for doing female genitalia mutilation, where they cut out the clitoris out of little girls so they can't enjoy sex. That's mutilation. But chopping off a little boy's penis isn't. The lack of consistency is not the issue. The issue is that the persecution is beginning, and it will continue. We've seen this slowly start up since the 60s and 50s, and it's going to progress. Soon you will find your ministers being told they will either perform same-sex marriages or they will lose their rights. They will be persecuted. And eventually it'll get to where they're going to shut down your churches. Now, there's two ways you can deal with the persecution. You can accept the fact that we're going to be persecuted and continue on in your beliefs and following the Lord like you're supposed to. Or you can do like some churches already have, and that is conform to the will of the people. By conforming, you turn your back on Christ. I'm here to tell you right now, if you change the beliefs of Christianity to fit the desires of society, you are betraying Christ. You've made a choice that you would rather be popular or accepted by the masses than serve the Lord. Now, what's the harm? The harm is you've chosen the enemy. In the present day, if you choose to serve humanity or the world, then you're not serving Christ. The world is not on our side. The world can't even make up its mind on what morality is. The morals of society is degenerating. We have calls for people to be forgiven simply by the color of the skin for whatever crime they commit. And if you don't believe that, look into it. We have programs in this country where people can come from other countries and they're, regardless of the crimes they have committed, allowed in. And that's not just crimes they've committed in other countries. Illegal aliens can come into this country, commit crimes, and if they get caught, they're supposed to be, well, we're not going to punish them because, then they could be deported. There's been calls by numerous black politicians to say that black people should not be held to the same standard as whites. To me, that's racism. That we owe black people for the way they were treated during slavery and during the Jim Crow eras. Well, I'm not going to side in on one way or the other on that, but the bottom line is, if that being owed means that they should not be punished for committing crimes, then no, I can't accept that. That is basically saying they can do whatever, one group of people can do whatever they want as a punishment for, as they see it, in the past, the whites being able to do whatever they want. This is not morality. This is criminal. This is immoral. And it's wrong. In a society where even pedophiles are looked at as, well, they just believe differently. Things are wrong. And we need to understand that we need to accept this. Not accept it as enjoying it, but accept that society is going the wrong way. And remember to stay true to our beliefs. Will this make you unpopular? Oh, very much so. And in today's society, that may very well mean that you're going to get ostracized. You may end up losing your job. You may have to find another place to live. The bottom line is, it's either that or you can choose to go to hell. Because if you turn your back on Christ, He'll turn His back on you. I've read to you and had talked about them numerous times, where the verses in the Bible where Christ turns to the people and says, I didn't know you. How did you treat the least of us? You can't suddenly decide in the last minutes of your life to reverse the whole direction of your life. What I mean by this is you can't turn your back on Christ now and then walk into heaven and say, I'm here. Oh, ignore all that. That was a mistake. It's too late then. If persecution is coming, and I've shown you the examples are there, it's coming. It's here. It's starting. It's only going to get worse. So you have to make your choice. Where do you stand? Are you going to stand with Christ, or are you going to submit? Now, as for me, my choice is already made. I will stand with Christ, whatever the consequences. He stood for me. He loved me so much that He stood up, put His hands out, and died for me. Now, if you think society would do the same for you, you're mistaken. If you think any of your politicians would stand up and die for you, you're mistaken. Politicians are historically unwilling to die for their cause. They're more willing to send other people out to die for their cause. Bottom line is you got to get prepared. And how do you prepare for being persecuted? Number one, make sure you work at a Christian company or in a Christian business, or find yourself a job that you can do online, something to where you cannot be identified with your beliefs. When people come and face you, though, you need to stand up. You need to prepare for what is coming. Because eventually, even the online jobs are going to be gone. You won't be eligible unless you make commitments. Now, why am I willing to say this? Well, recently an organization has come into play that has decided that any company that will not attest that the 2020 election was fair and honest should be unsupported. They want to cancel them. Now that's just over an election. A crooked election in a lot of people's opinion, but they don't want that opinion out there. They want people to attest that that was a legitimate election and that anything else is treason. Now, if that's how far they're going to go over defending their rise to power, how much further will they go when it comes time to actually come against us? Because we do promote the idea, and the Bible does flat out tell you there is right and there is wrong, and there is no in between. You either are with God or you're against God. And you got to understand that if you get to where the point is, let me finish my first thought. Society cannot accept that somebody can have a set of moral standards that isn't society's. Well, the problem, as I stated, is society has no moral standards. Their standards are an absence of morality. Now, if you're going to keep with that in mind, the time is going to come and you're going to have to choose. Do you choose your morality? Do you choose the morality of the Bible? Do you choose to stand with Christ? Or do you cave into the pressure of society, peer pressure, and all the problems that come with that? You need to think about it. Don't sit there and think this isn't happening, because denial isn't going to get you anywhere. Don't sit there and think they won't come for you. Again, denial isn't going to get you anywhere. Too many people are going to wake up and go, wait, but why are you picking on me now? because when they picked on the baker, you didn't stand up for them. It's going to happen. Now, I know this has been a long episode. It doesn't need to be. The point is, you need to start thinking about the persecution that is coming and prepare. Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, or if you have questions or comments, leave your questions and comments down below. You can email me those at sorry, I'm giving you my email. Not giving you my email, I'm giving you my website. You can email them to me at waitinginlaodicea@gmail.com. You can go to the website, which is www.waitinginlaodicea.weebly.com. Otherwise, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe. Other than that, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with your friends. If you want to support this ministry, you can do so through this website, through this platform itself. You can go to the website, support us there. We have a Patreon account set up. That information is located on the channel description. Bitcoin, take that too. All you got to do, look around, find the way to support us, and support us that way. If you would like to support us and help us out in other manners, send us an email. I'll get back to you. We'll find ways for you to help out the ministry. Thank you very much. This has once again been A.T. Martinez with Waiting in Laodicea.